I ordered the other book from Amazon. $8.99, nothing.
Welcome, everyone. It is Wednesday, September 17th. We're not quite a week out from Rosh Hashanah.
What
And-
time is the service?
Okay,
You have to look it up.
you gotta look it up, or I'll give you
All
a
service-
sheet,
they're all
because there's like
different.
100 start
They're
times.
all different start times.
Well, but just know it starts Monday night.
Yes.
Yes, I know.
But there, I think it's something.
So, we're on the second to the last, story in Spilt Milk, and we're gonna do Burning Girls. What?
Different cover.
Yeah, this is hardback.
When
Oh,
did you
this
get,
one.
when was this announced? Burning.
I heard
Yeah,
yesterday.
It came
Last email,
yesterday.
you gotta read
It
your
came
email.
yesterday, read your email.
I already bought it. It's on
I already
sale.
bought
and-
it. I already bought it.
But it's on
Headline.
sale for something like $7.
So I'll
I bought it- I bought
put,
it
Burning
from
Girl, I'll
Amazon,
put in the
like
chat.
$8. Hardcover, no problem. I have.
So, when Judy came in today, she said, this is a very stressful story. And I said, yes.
It's well.
And she said that when her daughter had twins, she was nursing and she was in the car and they were in the NICU. And I was stressed out that the mother had locked her out of the house. Like,
Or she hadn't forgotten,
And-
or she hadn't forgotten to turn.
The mother had
I have
issues.
another- I have
The
another
mother had
thing. No.
issues.
right, wait. So wait, before we start, two things. One, I usually start with, why did she name it the story? We know why she named it Trespass. And, wait, what was the second one? Yeah, and now I think it was like a window into Courtney Zoffness,
Oh, for
her
sure.
anxiety,
Yes.
her fear of things. So I feel like, as we do when we, any of these books, you like get to know the author, but oh my God, I don't.
I have a different- I have a
Okay,
different take.
Izzy, go.
Yes, because
Okay.
this is, I just, what did she do to make her mother fear her coming into the house alone? What,
I don't think she did.
never said her, a mother, I've been a mother for 4 months. What did she do? What did she do to provoke her mother?
It was long.
Roberta's with me.
I want to know,
Wait.
she did not say
Okay.
one word about what her behavior was to let.
It was the dad, Roberta.
It was. It was the.
They got divorced. Roberta, go.
Oh my God. I was mad. I just know for what she must have done something.
Wait.
Got divorced.
Roberta, go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I think it was very indicative of not a single action that she did, just like trespass is not literally referring to invading space.
Interesting.
I thought trespass was going where somebody doesn't want you to go. And I think what it means is her daughter didn't do anything. It was the issues that mother had about herself that played out in the relationship with her daughter. I don't think her daughter did anything, and I don't think she felt the need to find out, and she wanted to find out, but I don't think the mother was willing to go there with her own journey and explore it, to be able to be approachable to her daughter. I thought the story was, I loved it. I thought it was real relevant. And I thought it was very symbolic, not on the literal level whatsoever. And it prompted one to really think not only about her journey and the relationship with her mother, but their own journey and relationship with a mother, anybody. I thought it opened up a lot of things. What I wanted to say that I love, I thought it needs exploring, that she uses the phrase, I am 4 months and a mother. I am for.
Over and over again.
and
She used it
this-
100 times, yeah. Yeah,
I think that is very indicative
you got two and then you.
talent
Reminds herself.
that I think
Reminds herself.
we need to discuss.
Okay.
All
All right, thank you, Roberta. I have Alice, Sandy, Judy, Lynn, Barb.
Okay, I agree with you, Roberta, very much. Izzy, I hear what you're saying, but I really think it's, well, I think it's the relationship between the mother and Courtney Zoffness. And remember that story we read about, I don't know if it was the first story, I don't know, it might have been the first story about Courtney being so concerned about passing on the anxiety that she
Yes.
had
Uh-huh.
to her son. And
Uh-huh.
I think this story continues that because she's nursing him. And I think she even says, you know, she's concerned, is she giving him the anxiety that she had
Yes,
from
I'm
the
sure.
previous
Absolutely.
generation?
Absolutely.
It
goes back
to absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we think so.
Yes.
Okay, Sandy.
Well, I loved this story from beginning to end. I felt like I was right there with her. Every step of the way, you felt like you were there. You just, it was so personal. And it reminded me of my days of nursing because I had a lot of stress when I was nursing. And that is something you don't want to hand down to your baby. When you're nursing, it does affect the baby. I had a mother-in-law who didn't love me, who didn't care about me, and who lived right around the corner. And I had a mother who lived far away from me, who I adored and who loved me very much. My mother-in-law, who wasn't very sweet, encouraged me to nurse. In those days, very few people, none of my friends or relatives were nursing.
And right.
And this mother-in-law, who wasn't very nice, encouraged me to nurse. She had nursed all 4 of her boys, and she encouraged it. My mother, who I loved and adored, made me a nervous wreck about the nursing. If she heard the baby cry over the telephone, she would say, "Are you sure you have enough milk? Are
Yeah,
you
wow.
sure?
My mom
Maybe
said
you
that.
should give her extra this or extra that.
Mhm.
Talk to the doctor."
That's
So my mother,
Yeah.
who I adored, made me a nervous wreck.
Yeah.
Well,
That's a good, very good insight, Sandy. Judy.
On page 184, she says, if my father answered the door and we weren't home, my grandpa would leave without saying hello to my mother. Sometimes I find her crying. It ends up in that paragraph with, how does one learn to give if one has not received?
Correct.
Yeah.
And I think that's the whole point of this
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
I really believe that she has told us why her mother can't do this. And she, as we know, from Alice's comment, is true. She is worried about continuing this prologue.
Yeah, I agree. Lynn and then Barb.
I don't even know where to begin here. I think we need to take this literally. I mean, literally, this woman is on a journey. And as I am 4 months a mother, I heard a different tone each time she said it. It went from matter of fact to almost hysteria. I'm a mother. I need to get in. And, I heard that. And this is another journey story.
Yes.
Every chapter was a journey story. And this was a mental, emotional, physical journey in finding out, how am I going to mother? How am I going to parent? I have a 4-month-old, and what lessons am I learning? And I always say to anyone who looks at someone who's crazy, and I said, how was that person parented? And here we get it. This is why her panic throughout all these stories.
Yeah.
Am I doing it right? What am I supposed to be doing? Where do I belong? Who has nurtured me? Do I have a home? Here, look at that. She doesn't have a home. Her mother says it's my home. And so she is locked
Yes.
out every step of the way. literally and figuratively from any kind of nurturing. And so she is wondering, how am I gonna nurture a kid when I haven't had the role modeling of nurturing? I have to say, I read the story first and didn't get a tremendous amount out of it. And I read it again this morning and boy, did it hit me in the face, all of this, all of this. And I'm looking at my own parents now and how they were parented, and now I understand
A lot.
a
Yeah.
lot.
All right, Barb.
A lot.
Okay, I was trying to get this from the mother's perspective, and I think that if my faltering memory is right, this issue of trust with her
That
is such a
trust.
big thing.
Yeah.
And the mother was a singer in this band,
Yes,
and
yeah.
she was abandoned.
Yes.
And her husband apparently abandoned
Yes.
her. And I don't know, and apparently the daughter makes reference to this at the very end of this story, that which page it was on. But anyhow, she makes references to it. I think Judy referenced it. That how do you know what you didn't get yourself?
Right.
So she has, I wonder if the mother ever questioned her own motherhood, like her daughter questions her motherhood. So,
Yeah. Merle, Elaine, Roberta, Ellen, Izzy.
How do you do that? I don't know how
I
you do
write it
that.
down. People, I write it down. Merle. Wait, unmute, or I'll unmute you. Go ahead. I unmuted
Okay,
you.
thank you. I saw her problem as not only with her mother, but it was a generational thing that was going on in society. When my sister had her children, my sister was 11 years older than I was. She was born in 1934. So by the time she had her children, it was in the 50s. She bottle fed because when she was in the hospital having her baby, she saw someone who was not bottle feeding, who looked like a person of a socioeconomic class that was much lower. And this really upset her and her husband. And so she said, I can't be like that person. So she bottle fed. So while I was with her at that time, I would babysit because I was like 12 years old or something. I would babysit. I would watch her prepare these bottles. It was a lot of work, and every day. And I bottle fed all her children with her. And when it was my time to have children, I'm not going through that. It was stupid, absolutely stupid and unnecessary. All my friends were rejecting bottle feeding. And so all my friends in my baby play group, and we all nursed our babies with so much support. And also in society, it was getting easier. You would go to the mall and there might be a room for mothers to nurse. I felt that her problem was coming from all sides. It was all sides. I felt so bad for her. And I always wondered, after reading this story, how long did she endure that? How long did she breastfeed her children? She doesn't say.
No, she does not.
I just felt it was not just her mother, but it was a societal. Okay.
Elaine.
Okay, it's my job to be the opposite, okay? If you remember one of the sections, she talks about her mother being a good grandmother.
Right.
And her mother would be fun and would be all these things. And the contradiction between the mothering her and the grandmother of the baby, I found to be very, I don't even know the word. Shocking. Okay. Yeah, because she talked about how the mother would be a good grandmother, but she wasn't a good mother to her. So what is the dynamics of that?
Nothing against the baby.
Nothing
against the baby.
No, I got 10 people here.
Okay, it's a different generation. And Izzy just said she has nothing against the baby. So maybe the mother was transgressing the father's image of the wife and putting that on the daughter. And the baby is this innocent little baby. Okay, anyway.
All right, Roberta, Ellen, Izzy, and Alice. Roberta, then Joyce. Oh, wait, I'll unmute you.
Thank
Go,
you.
Roberta.
I think I have so much to share, and I have to keep my mouth shut, but my husband's laughing, goes, yeah. But anyway, oh, so many comments as each one spoke. First of all, I thought I heard, and I'm sorry if I misunderstood, but I gotta defend it. It's not the parents' responsibility. It hopefully, yes, it's what they give or what they don't give, but it's also the child to recognize it and not fend for themselves, but find a way that works for them. And my mothering was very difficult for her, but she was a fabulous grandmother. And I think that's the way you have to.
There are a lot of people.
I breastfed. I loved it. And I didn't. I never thought twice about it. I didn't look at the other alternatives as messier or time consuming. I just thought it was the most beautiful, natural way to be with my child. And that was the only way I looked at it. And I didn't care what anybody thought. In my head, I knew what I wanted. And and I just think that aspect and that characteristic needs to be acknowledged and granted for those of us who just did it because it felt good and it was natural and nurturing to them.
Yeah. Ellen.
I agree with much of what's been saying. I think we all love the story because you had so much empathy for the mother, and I think it's really well written. I think I said this several sessions ago when I was on Zoom, and then the last time I know I watched it because you sent me the recording. I'm really intrigued with the author, and I would love to either devote a whole session to it or at the end of the next is our last book story. I think that if we all went back through the book, there's another thing about a band, but I don't remember this. I think there was another reference to the band when Barbara said that. And there are just so many similarities and things like that. I'd like to analyze the author if we have a chance to do that, just in terms of what we've learned from her. I find it very, very interesting. At any rate, okay. Well,
I can ask her. I mean, she wrote back to me.
I don't mean that she has to be part of it. I just mean that we could go back and look at the stories or maybe I'll just do that on my own.
Yeah, that would be, I mean, we could leave a little time at the end of the next one. Alice. No, wait, Izzy.
You know, as I'm sitting here, I just had an epiphany.
Right.
I just had an epiphany. I'm so angry with her, the mother of 4 months.
Yes.
Because why did she keep going back and back and back when she was 3 years old? Her son had a poop in the grass. I just thought of an incident. My father was awful and it was horrible. My daughter, Polly, was 3 months old and we needed to buy a new car and it was raining and snowing. And I called my father and I called my mother and said, can I drop off Polly? Because we need to buy a new car. They live 2 minutes from us. My father said we may want to take a walk. It was raining and snowing. My father was a horrible person. He said no. And so after that, never did I ask again. Because why would I go through that same pain again? Why did she keep asking? Then I'm just thinking.
Because she needed it.
Yeah, but if you could find, I found other sources. Or I ended up taking her with me and I ended up learning to cope without their help.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't give it to me. Because my father was so dominant over my mother.
Yeah.
And yet he was a wonderful he loved
Okay.
her,
Wow.
but not me. So it, and horrible.
Yeah.
So this was really, so this was,
Alice, Lynn, and Joyce.
Yeah, a couple of things. I want to talk about, I think a couple people have already referenced it, how she keeps repeating, I am 4 months a mother.
Yes.
I felt it was almost poetic because that's something that in poetry, there's a lot of repetition of sounds or actual phrases. And so I felt stylistically, this was really a beautiful story. The other thing I was thinking, I don't know why she didn't call this chapter Spilt Milk. That's the name, that's the name of the book. I mean, I know that expression you can apply to lots of things, but really this one was literally
Spilt milk.
spilt milk.
When I read that she spilt the milk, it's just like,
Oh, yeah, it's like,
It's
oh,
terrible.
you know,
She's
even if
leaving
you
us to-
haven't breastfed,
to glean it.
it's like you can just empathize with her and just
Yeah.
feel for her what
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
felt like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lynn, then Joyce.
Well, Alice, think about
Yes.
this. You can't
Yes.
cry over spilt milk.
Well,
So I think by the end of the story, she has discovered something about herself.
Absolutely.
And
Oh,
all
yes.
of this that happened in the story is a learning experience for her.
Yeah.
And as we're discussing, I'm thinking about my past and something my mother was a great mother, not a good grandmother.
Huh.
So I see there's an opposite. And so I'm thinking, okay, why was that the case? Her mother said to her, I had enough children and I did enough mothering. I'm done.
A lot of people said that.
Yeah, and that's what's transferred to my mother. I think, to answer you, when the police talked to the mother and said your daughter could be arrested because she can't get into the house, she didn't say, oh shit, did she?
No.
But something like that. Like, oh my God, what have I done? I made my daughter a trespasser, a
Her mother
thief.
does say, oh, shit.
Did
Mom
she say, oh,
says when, yeah, it says, oh, shit, mom says when she hears what's happening.
She didn't.
I think that was an epiphany, for her.
But then she does it again. 3 years, she keeps doing it.
No, but
Well, it says she won't leave the key
She
again.
won't leave the key.
But she just said she
Even
would.
after-
She won't get.
And she had turned the alarm on.
Was that on purpose?
Oh, I
Absolutely.
think this was a paranoia, a distrust.
Yeah.
And I would like us to talk about the word trust.
Yeah.
Because it comes up a lot in here. How does lack of trust
Yeah.
Deal with it.
translate into this kind of behavior?
Wait, Joyce and then Elaine.
I breastfed my children. I loved it. I had a mother and a mother-in-law who were not totally supportive. My mother tried to breastfeed me. She couldn't for whatever reason. My mother-in-law never approved of it. So I had each one of them lived about a mile and a half away from me in opposite directions. So I had built-in babysitters, but not supportive ones of my decision. Thank God I had a close friend who was able to walk me through my breastfeeding experience. And when I needed help with cracked nipples, she came from downtown to Lincolnwood and sat with me and, helped me. If I didn't have her, I probably would have given up a lot sooner than I did. And I thank my lucky stars for her warmth and support. And my mother-in-law was also one who said, and I loved her dearly, but we definitely disagreed on this, was the kind of person that said, especially with my son, the oldest, are you sure he's getting enough milk?
That was
You
they all
know,
said that.
You can't measure.
Yeah.
I said, I know. You gotta trust me on this.
Yeah.
But, she was looking at me like, you're the pitcher. How do you know? I'm the one with all the experience. Well, on this, you didn't have the experience.
Exactly.
And I resented her for it.
As well you should.
Elaine and then Sandy.
All right, going back to Lynn, I agree with you. It's a matter of trust. When Sandy said something about, did you trust that you have enough milk? We have all of our anxieties. A family brings into not only a child, they bring into all of their shtick, okay? And you, as a new parent, you don't know what to do. And you just continue the road of horribleness of whatever the neurosis is. And it's so hard to break it. And when she kept saying, I'm a mother of 4 months, you question. A new mother questions everything that you do. Okay.
You have to have a sense of humor. I remember the first time Lee Tao had a fever, and I was too embarrassed. It was in the middle of the night, and I called the hospital or whatever, and they said, "Are you a new mother?" And even then, I wanted to say, "Yeah, of course." No, I have testes here. I'm calling you. What's the matter with you? I'm just nervous. You know, and that's when you realize,
and sometimes what we all think our mothers were not supportive. They didn't know, and they were questioning their way of doing. I mean, think of now how people are raising their children. We put kids on their stomachs, they put them on their back, they make them like little burritos now. You don't put anything in their cribs. I mean, it's all different. And no one knows, everyone is walking on eggs. Okay. And this chapter explains a lot of her still thinking, and you have to give her credit for opening up and saying, here I am, I'm raw, and I am.
we give her that credit, absolutely.
Right, I am still searching.
Right.
And as this group has shown, we all are, and we still have good things about the way we were raised and regrets. And we're all in our last chapters of life. You would think that we would have figured it out by now, and no one has figured it out.
No way. Okay, I have Sandy, Ellen, Barb. Sandy.
I remember vividly every second of that time when I was nursing, and there'd be a family party. And this could be on either side of the family, on my husband's side or on my side. The women would go into a room or something, and the men would be in another room. And I remember my sister-in-laws snickering because we all had babies at the same time, and they all bottle fed. And I'd be sitting there nursing, and they'd be snickering, and they would make it seem like I was a primitive while this was going on. And they would sit there with the bottle in the kid's mouth, and they'd be smoking. They were smoking in a closed room.
Oh my
And
God.
they thought they made it seem like I was weird. And then when we'd come out of that room and go to eat at a party, my brother-in-laws would all try to come close to me and maybe try to feel me up. Their husbands of the same sister-in-laws. It was such a horrible thing. And
That is horrible. Okay. Thank you. Ellen. No, wait a minute. Sandy, Ellen.
Okay. A question first and then a comment. She never tells us where the baby is when she's doing all this pumping, does she?
No.
Okay. The obvious answer, and maybe that's a reference back, where's Alice, about the spilt, why it's not called spilt milk. The obvious answer, first of all, if you're nursing, the beauty and the experience of nursing is so much better. She's pumping her breasts all the time. I remember my daughter's first child was in the hospital for 5 months. She pumped her breasts all the time. She never got to feed her the milk because they wouldn't allow breast milk. But the beauty of nursing obviously is the nursing, and she doesn't really talk about that. I get it. I think we're still very empathetic.
I disagree with that. She had to work.
She had to work.
She was far away.
Yeah.
An hour away.
And I'm sure she nursed.
She was an hour away. I didn't have
Yeah,
to.
and she nursed, I'm sure she nursed all night. Yeah.
Well,
Okay, and comment?
I don't mean that was, no,
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Okay. I have, Barb.
Yeah.
Merle and Judy.
So much of this book is about mothering, the grandmother mothering, the daughter mothering, a lot of mothering going on.
Or lack thereof.
Or lack thereof. And, you know, I have 3 kids. The first one is always an experiment. You never know what you're doing. You hope for the best.
Right.
The second one, you sort of know. The third one raises itself. Okay.
Bingo.
My daughter was 6 years old. Then the stress in the story, I just so identified with.
Yeah.
My daughter was 6 years old than my second one. My second one was 12 months older than my third one.
Nice.
Crazy spacing. Okay, so I could remember when I was nursing these kids, especially the last 2, the stress, just the stress. There's constant commotion, and I wasn't working. I was home. I can't even imagine what this woman went through because I was at home doing this on my own time. I didn't have to worry about a babysitter. I didn't have to worry about anything else. And I was stressed. And this woman, the stress that she was going through, she probably had to work. And you can't fault her for that because people do. And she was trying to make the best of it. I question, though, why she doesn't speak up for herself. She said she did not ask her, when she interviewed for this job, she did not ask if there was a room for her to go to. She ends up in her car. She ends up in a Starbucks or wherever, or she ends up, she tries to end up at her mother's house, which is close by. I question, that's a big question for me as to being so stressed and not being able to stand up.
It's hard.
And find
It's very hard.
Super hard. Wait, I have Merle, Judy, then Elaine. Merle.
So here, I kept wondering, why do you have 2 sisters in the same family, me and my sister? And she said to me when I had my baby, I can't believe that someone as educated as you is going to breastfeed. Well, I mean, her daughter was born, her first child was born in 1957. Then she had 2 more, and they all grew up to be super healthy. They were never breastfed. Okay. But in 1956, that's when La Leche League started. And that was such a support. So their purpose, this is the quote, to help mothers worldwide to breastfeed through mother-to-mother support, encouragement, information, and education, and to promote a better understanding of breastfeeding as an important element in the healthy development of the baby and mother. So I was surrounded by encouragement. When I went to the doctor, he would say to me, this baby is splendid, and you're just giving this baby breast milk? I said, yeah. And it was like I was getting so much support in my baby play group. Everybody was breastfeeding. And I did know people who were active in the La Leche League too. So I feel so bad for this woman. I don't know what year she had her baby, but she never went to La Leche for support. It seemed like she didn't know because it's been there so long. And
She was born in 47, Courtney Zoffness, and that kid was, so let's say she was 30, so 47, 57, 67.
She's Wait, she was born in 47? Courtney's.
Wait. No, she is 47.
Oh, she is.
That's what I
Big
thought.
difference.
So she can't be.
Yeah, no,
She was
I
born,
thought she was
she's 47 years old.
Oh, she was born.
She was born in June of 78. So that's, let's say 88, 98, in the 2000s. So, I mean.
She just wasn't aware that there was support out there. And then there was another thing. When women are having such a difficult time as she was with her schedule, it was possible to get something like ready to feed Enfamil or ready to feed Similac. Like I used to give the baby a bottle just at supper time, so my husband could feed the baby at supper time, just the one bottle a day. I mean, there were things you could do. She never thought outside the box. And I'm not blaming her. I mean, she was so stressed out. There was support out there. She just never got it.
Yeah.
Judy.
I have an interesting story to tell you. When my daughter was born, first child in the family, first grandchild, first great grandchild, my grandmother passed away. Eve was about 2 months old. I was breastfeeding. We were in my mother's apartment. We were doing the Shiva. And someone said, go wake up Grandpa. Grandpa didn't wake up. So when we went in, someone came into another bedroom and said to me, Grandpa has passed away. I was breastfeeding. My milk dried up like that.
Wow.
So now I have a screaming baby and a house full of people going crazy because the funeral was the next day. And no one had time to acknowledge my grandfather's family to come to the funeral. It was a horrible experience, but mostly men came to my help. They went to the store, got a bottle, got milk, got whatever they got, and they were boiling the bottles. These were the men in my family. The women were hysterical crying. The men got the bottles, got the milk. It was the most
Amazing.
encouraging experience because to leave breastfeeding was hard.
Yeah.
But I kept trying. I couldn't get it back again. But it does take a society. I agree with you, Merle. It's the society that you live in that gives you some support when you can't find it at home.
Agreed. Elaine and then Alice.
Okay,
Some people.
I'm not, again, I'm not putting down the group, but I think we're looking at it with hindsight and saying, why didn't she do this? Why didn't you do that? Think about this woman's going back to work. She's breastfeeding. She's a new mother. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing. Her mother is not helpful. And she's got all this stress. I think sometimes we expect too much out of ourselves and we expect too much out of the characters in the books. You know, we are all flawed and we make mistakes. And you know, we could sit there and say, oh, you should have done, well, we're looking at it as sitting in the comfort of our elderly lives and we can look back. But when you're in this situation, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, Alice and then Roberta.
Yeah, a couple of comments.
Sorry, damn it.
In terms of her not being proactive about places to pump, she had kind of a unusual situation in that she wasn't in an office. She was going from place to place. So I think that to me seemed like, I don't know, I'm on the road, I'm on my way to this, where am I, and I need to pump. The other thing I want to, everybody's talking about personal things. My daughter who worked full-time, when she breastfed, but and I can't remember the time, but when she had her second child, it was taking her so much time to pump. She had to pump because she wanted to leave bottles when she was working for whoever was taking care of the baby. The baby was in daycare, pretty early on. But she was spending so much time pumping that she finally said, you know what? And she had a toddler in addition to working full time and a husband who was working full time. So she, she said, I really want to breastfeed. But I can't do it. So sometimes, reality hits you. I just want one more thing. I think a lot of us have the same experience, but I breastfed, but my older sister did not breastfeed. I kind of had my children a lot later than my friends. I kind of knew that I had my kids in the 80s, that was the thing to do. I did it very successfully, but I never got any help. I have to tell you, the hospital at that time, they sent me home with no instructions. I just kind of figured it out all on my own. And I don't know, I just did it, but and I had one more thing. My mother-in-law, sweet woman, but she kept saying to me, are you, like you other people said, are you sure he's getting enough? Well, finally I went back at her. I said, because he was a big kid, I said, I think he's getting enough nourishment. Look what he looks like. And I think that was
They
the
all
end of
say
it.
that. You
I know,
breastfeed.
I know.
All right. Lynn, Roberta, then Sandy.
Okay, I don't think this has anything to do with breastfeeding, this story. I think this has to do with a woman who has this child, and if you look at the second line of the story, she said, we will be forever tethered to each other by time.
Yes.
Okay, the use of that word tethered is very telling. She is going from an independent role to having someone totally dependent on her, and maybe through time, as we all know, there is some dependency, even though our kids fight that. So I think, in my opinion, that she is looking for guidance. She is looking for a sense of belonging. She's looking for a home. She's looking for someone who will be there for her, which many of you have said. And she said, looking at the here, on the second page, I have called my mother because I can't figure it out how to be a professional while breastfeeding. That's her goal. She wants a balanced life. And I have a daughter who's struggling with the same thing, and she's 51 years old. So this transcends time. It's a universal, and this is what I loved about the book. We took what was in the story and we talked about all these things. I had the same struggle. My daughter has the same struggle. I'm sure some of you have this. How do you live a balanced life when you don't have anyone to help?
Right.
Really, who's close to you?
Right.
You have to depend on your friends. I depended on my sister a lot. But I think the beauty of this is, what are we trespass? She's trespassing, I noticed, on the past. She's been walled out. And she can't depend on that past
No.
for
Nope.
anything.
No. Roberta, Sandy, Elaine, Barb. Roberta.
Is Lynn finished? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to comment that I think all of us are one or two generations and our children are another, and each one is looked at in context of that generation, what's going on and how we reacted and others reacted.
Right.
I think that's what we have to remember. I mean, I think I'm hearing that most of you breastfed. My daughter breastfed, but she working full time, but the La Leche doesn't exist anymore, but the availability of the new kinds of pump and freezing. Oh, I asked, well, according to my children, it's because I asked them about that, but
It definitely. Here's the link.
yes, to them it isn't relevant like to
You don't
us.
hear about it. You don't even know
But
about it.
I think they just have looked at all the alternatives that are available to them, freezing their breast milk, being able to work, being flexible. I think that's very understandable. I think one thing we need to mention, we're critical of the mother, and it's easy to be, and I could be very critical of someone else, but what I'm working on is trying to take a moment, get out of my negativity and blaming and saying, what did they go through? where are they on their journey that makes them act or react like this? So I think we need to say about the mother, what did she experience that made her so difficult to establish a relationship with her daughter? I think that's critical. The last thing I want to say, and two things. To address Lynn's comment, I think the word choices like tethered or whatever are very meaningful and impactful, and we stop and we react emotionally to them, and kudos to the author. But my favorite lines are at the end of the chapter. It's so meaningful to me and encompassing. When I arrive in Brooklyn, the base of my bag will be sticky and damp, and the bottles will be empty. I mean, I get tears in my eyes when I read it, because it not only is a perfect ending, but it could be whatever you want it to be. You can personalize it and relate it to your ending. What's empty, what's sticky and remaining. I loved this chapter.
Sandy, Elaine, and then Barb. Sandy.
I just remembered something I had forgotten for 50 years or more. But I remember I had had the baby in August, first baby. And in September, David read about a group that was going to be doing a bicycle trip along Lakeshore Drive. So he bought us bicycles. I had ridden bicycles in years, and I'm nursing. We get on the bicycle and we have the whole Lakeshore Drive. We have to leave our car at one point, and we're going maybe 12 miles away. And by the time we get there, I suddenly realize that the t-shirt I'm wearing, it's very warm weather, and I have no jacket. And the t-shirt I have, we used to have these little pads that fit inside the bra, so that if you did leak a little bit, it absorbed it. But by this time, I had big circles on each breast that showed through the t-shirt. I probably had soaked these pads, and maybe with the energy I was using for bicycling, they had even made more milk come out. And this woman, I mean, I felt like a disaster, like I was exposed to all these strange people in this bicycle club. And this woman took me aside, and she had a jacket or a sweater, and she put it around me, and she took me aside and she said, "Dear, let me help you." It turned out she was a doctor. She was a pediatrician. And she realized, like my innocence. And she helped me. She became a lifelong friend.
That's a compassionate person.
Right. She's passed on now, but she became a lifelong friend. We were good friends the rest of my life, but I'll never forget that day on the outer
It's a good
drive
story. Yeah.
with my soaked chest.
I can only imagine. Okay, Elaine.
All right, I have just two things to say. Number one, I was 19 when I had my daughter. It's amazing that she's alive. So that's all I have to say on that.
She's a lovely person.
She is a lovely person.
She belongs here. She had children. She came out okay.
Yes, yes. And did I tell you Sarah's gonna have a baby?
Yeah,
Yes, okay. So the other thing is, we as women have not at all discussed the husband or the father.
Neither did she.
Okay, we as women put so many demands on ourselves and give the husbands they're going to work, they're doing their thing, and it's our responsibilities. And nowadays, the kids, as your daughter knows, their husbands are co-parenting, co-husbanding, co-doing everything. My husband never, I don't think he maybe changed 2 diapers, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we put so much pressure on ourselves. And we all have. We have not mentioned one thing that the husband needs to pick up something or.
I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
We'll get back to that. Barb.
Okay. I'm going back to your tether thing because I really like
Yeah, I did that.
Okay, so the tether, you're literally, when they cut the cord, we're no longer physically tethered.
Right.
So then, you're feeding your child and you're tethered in that way. And that's another thing that you have to cut. Another way that these prodigies that we all had become their own person, and you're releasing them and letting it go. I've always felt, and my kids, when they complain about it, I've said to them, being a parent is a life sentence. It's never, you're forever tethered. You really are forever tethered in one way or another, but not physically anymore. Maybe emotionally, maybe in some other way, but I love the word tethered. And Elaine, I have to apologize. You pointed out that we were being judgmental about this person for not asking. I feel like I owe this character.
Courtney. It's a person.
Yes.
Courtney. So I want to share, and this is going to lead to another discussion because I just looked at our schedule, and I closed the door and you can't tell my daughter, I'm telling you this. I really wish. I don't want them to wait. You have no idea what I'm going to tell you. So she is pregnant. And I wish we had somebody from that generation to talk about this. She is militant about breastfeeding. I'm like, do you want to cover up? She goes, no, there's a pot over there. No, people should get used to it. I'm like, okay, and you all know me. I mean, I take a back seat there, but she's having the baby in a couple of weeks at home.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my
At
God.
home.
Well, they're a lot, she's
Did she have the others in the hospital?
Wait. She had the first one in the hospital, it was COVID. The second one, she had at a birthing center. So I'm telling my mom this, and she goes, well, what was the matter with the birthing center? Why could she go back there? And my mother, who is 92, lives by herself and won't wear the life alert. I go, Mom. Yes.
Right here.
Good. Thank you, Izzy. So, this generation.
Where it belongs.
Yeah. Close to your heart. And they are co-parents. There's, Arthur was better than my father. That's my husband. But Cole, my son-in-law, is, better than Arthur. And they have paternity leave. Our people didn't have paternity leave. In fact, when I had one of the babies, he's like, well, you'll be in the hospital. They can take care of you. I'll go to work. And, when you're home, I'll take off a day. You're in the hospital. What do you need me for? So, it's so much to think about. Now, Courtney, she's not that. I mean, my kids, the last one was born in 96, and it looks like maybe trying to parse it out, hers were in the 2000, but, and we know she has anxiety, fear. We after reading this book, we know a lot about her. So, but that reminds, I just want to look at the calendar very quickly. So we're off on October 1st because that's Kol Nidre. And I have to make dinner.
We all do.
Who doesn't? And the 15th, I'm going to be in DC because she's having the baby. So I don't think that I can have it on the 15th.
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think that's a good idea.
Well, you could try. You can talk about anxiety.
So the bottom line is I could have it on the 22nd.
Of October.
Of October, and then go back to the 1st and the 3rd, because there's 5 weeks in October.
Okay.
And that-
The next meeting would be October 22nd?
Yeah.
Okay, and we only have one more chapter. right?
Yeah. And then, no, the new book is November 5th.
There's
one more.
Yeah. There's one more here.
This is my last meeting.
Next meeting.
Why?
Why?
Because I'm
Oh.
leaving.
You can do
October
Zoom.
15th.
We all do Zoom.
No, but I'll do Zoom.
No,
But I mean,
Zoom.
I mean, in person.
Yeah, well, we'll miss you.
Yeah.
I'll
Where are
send
you
you the,
going?
I'm going to Arizona.
Oh, for the winter?
Yeah.
How
nice.
nice.
I want to say something.
Yes.
About
Did you always
about
do
a
that?
husband.
Yeah.
There's one husband in the story.
Oh, that's good.
All right, wait, Lynn is talking and then
There is
Sandy.
one husband in the story, and he divorced that woman.
Yeah.
Yes.
So obviously, I'm thinking he couldn't put up with her mishigas or whatever
Yes.
it is you want. I mean, he didn't understand what was going on.
Well, but wait,
So
I thought
You don't know.
that she locked, that she changed the
Oh.
lock, that he was abusive.
oh, you do?
Which, the
How did
husband?
you come to that
Do you think this
conclusion?
husband was
She
might have been
changed the
mentally
locks, put in an alarm system.
Yeah, she doesn't
he
give
had
us
another-
details, but
She
there's a lot of
changed the
bad
keys.
stuff. There's a
She
lot of bad stuff.
absolutely, she changed the keys.
You don't
Yes,
think it was for
she
the
didn't want to
daughter?
have
No,
anything
no,
to do
for
with
the
it.
husband.
So she might have divorced
the
him.
husband.
Yeah.
She might have
Oh.
divorced him. You don't know
Yeah,
that.
There was a story
the
about
narrator
that.
said, she talks about
Yeah.
problems with her father a lot. So
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
And then
yes,
there's the story about the
yeah.
mother when she was singing about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
The husband
And the
was like-
mother had the affair
She
with the
slept
other
different-
guy.
Yeah,
So
she was
the
sleeping-
husband was like,
Right.
She was sleeping in another bedroom.
That's another
Remember?
story.
Yes.
Sleeping in another bedroom. Yeah.
Okay, wait, I have Sandy and then we have to wrap up because I have Hebrew at 11:10.
The date though.
Yeah.
So our next story, their next date was the 22nd.
Yeah.
But then the 29th, when we had it down, we will not.
It shouldn't have been the 29th
Okay, well, I had it on.
because it's the first and the
Oh, no,
third.
never, yeah, it's the first. I didn't have it down. I just had.
So, yeah, Sandy, go ahead.
No.
Here's another long lost memory I forgot until today.
Okay, three
this is-
sentences, Sandy. Tell us in three sentences because we gotta go.
This is the second baby. We're sitting in my living room and we get a visitor. He's a man from Israel that I've never met before. And he's coming to talk to us and visit with us. And it's time for me to nurse. And I just opened my blouse and pulled the boob out and started nursing the baby. I mean, I didn't like, look, here I am, look at me. But it was rather immodest. And I felt comfortable with all these sister-in-laws that I couldn't show or nurse with.
Yeah.
I'm showing this strange Israeli man how I'm nursing. I just remember,
right.
I felt so natural.
Yeah,
with him.
okay. It's good to see everyone. People who are in the building, if you haven't picked up your tickets, you can pick up your tickets. And Rosh Hashanah is next.
Isn't it just a lanyard?
It's a lanyard.
But somebody dropped it off. for me.
Right, you gotta pick it up. The moral of the story is you have to pick it up. I want to wish everyone Shana Tova. I'll let you know about Lital. I will have so much to talk about.
Are you gonna be there?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
wait, can we have just a meeting talking about that?
You Zoom this in case you need to take him to the hospital.
Luckily, Sarah's going to Northwestern Hospital.
Wait.
Okay.
Midwife, right?
Right. My mother said she goes, well, is she having it by herself? I said, no. There's a midwife. Her husband. Wait. You cannot tell her. You cannot tell her. I told you this. She's having it in water. That's what I'm saying. Wait, they're putting a pool in their house.
My next question was there a tub involved?
No, a pool.
Wait, they did that to my daughter.
And?
She was in the hospital.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, that was a
So-
relaxing method, I guess. they had.
Litali tried, she wanted it at the birthing center, but she labored at home. And by the time she got there, Max was coming out. So hopefully, I'm supposed to go October 9th. The baby's due like the 12th. I don't know. I think
Are you gonna
that,
catch the baby?
what?
Are you gonna catch the baby
If
in the
she let
water?
me, I'd be there. I love that stuff, and I love my daughter, so, we can't wait
That
to.
would be a kick to watch.
Yeah.
That.
Absolutely. And she is, the Yiddish is a starker.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, she, so, all right, everybody, good to see you. Happy New Year. I'll see you around. Bye-bye.
Happy, healthy New Year.